Hey everyone, it's Almater, and I wanted to share a card that I made with you. A card that I made, a shaker card, and I actually do have, after my little presentation, I do have the actual, I actually recorded it this time. There was little flukes along the way because the funny thing is, whenever I make a shaker card, I sometimes forget the acetate. So kind of basically a card with a hole, what I end up with. So you'll see in the process video how I started with one paper for the front and I ended up with another one. And it's because I completely forgot the acetate. So anyway, but let me show you what I made. And this is for Artitech Supplies, you guys. That is Tracy's shop. She's here, Chi-Town, Tracy here on YouTube. And once again, I use the Crate Paper Craft Mart, and I'm loving this collection even more and more as I go. So I didn't use any of the chipboard stickers I was going to, but then I ended up changing up and I used one of the little stickers here and the words that spell it sweet. Now, I did use several of the 6x6 paper pad, and I'll show you guys. You'll see the papers that I started with. And I used this die, and this is by My Mind's Eye Niche. I used this diamond, and this was a sweet, sweet gift from Sybil, and she's Sybil B here on YouTube. I also used my Heidi Swap Bliss die. These are the word dies, and the funny thing is, actually Tracy was able to find these for me in her store, because in the Las Vegas stores they didn't carry them. So anyway, I digress. Oh, and I also used, these are the sequins. Tracy also has these sequins packed, and they come in these little boxes, little squares, but I put them in little baggies. And I have the collection of the pinks, these little cheap ones from Walmart, and then I have these the blue collection. So I have those two, and because I didn't like opening the little packet and one would fly out, whatever, I did, because I told you guys, sequins are like the herpes of the sewing community, just like glitter is the herpes of the crafting community. So anyway, so I used a lot of those, and in retrospect, I thought I used too many. I should have used more. So let me show you guys my project. This is a 5.5 by 5.5 shaker card, and it's on craft cardstock. This is all of these papers. This, you'll see, this is what I used. These cutouts, initially, I just needed to cut this space out to put in the gold foil ones. But I ended up using them in here. And this is just one of the papers also from the paper collection. And I just used regular craft cardstock. The reason I have this stuff here is because if I put this down, you can't tell because now it's invisible. Apparently it's a craft for and it's a card, it's a camouflage card. So anyway, so and there's a little bit of glue showing there, which I didn't notice it. Anyway, so, and it's popped up on dimensional foam, and this is that foam that I get from the craft stores. I just get it in the big sheets and I cut it up, and you'll see that in the process. So I use several of the papers. Here's one of the papers right here. I started out with a different one here. I'll even show you. If you guys think that I craft perfectly, and no, this is what happened, and I got angry and I tore it up. I should probably leave that clip in there while I have a little hissy fit. But anyway, and in the back, so the front part, it has that stripe paper. In the back, of it, it has this paper for the background, because I felt that the stars gave it kind of a little sparkle when the sequins aren't being shaken. And I put several of basically this is just all blues that I use, and I kind of like that. So if anybody, you know, and I was just thinking of my birthstone because my birthday is in April. And by the way, you guys, if you guys haven't checked out my video for my birthday event, which is also sponsored by Tracy's shop, Artitech Supplies, check it out. It's super cool. We have some of the amazing ladies participating in that event, and if you want to participate, all you have to do is just make a video response and you're entered to win a gift card for Artitech Supplies. So, but anyhow, and I was just thinking my birthstone is diamonds, in case you guys would love to send me something and you're like, you know what could I send Almater? And I'm like, you know what, well, my birthstone is diamonds, so, you know, dig a few of those up. From your, as my nephew would call them, some twedges. If you want to send me some twedges, hey. So anyhow, and then here is where I cut out the bliss with the paper as well, with a darker blue, and that one is this one. I was going to cut out in foil, but I felt that in the gold, but I felt like it's just, and this is the gold from Recollections, and I felt that if I used too much gold, it would just, you know, look a little gaudy. So, because I wanted the diamonds actually to show. So here's where I used that little sticker, and I did pop it up as well. The rest of it is flat. And I mean, well, not really flat. I mean, that's like 1/4 inch foam. And then I popped this up. And this is one of the little stickers, the label stickers. And I took the alphabets, the alphas. Oop. See that one right there? And the alphas. And I just spelled sweet because I wanted to say sweet bliss. And that is pretty much it. It's very simple. like you guys, I've said before, I've trying to, there's a little bit of hot glue, because I do use hot glue for my phone, and foam, not for my phone, and I was just kind of nervous doing this video, so I made more of a mess than I should have. But that is my shaker card, and it looks really cool when it's on there, and it's a side folding card, and I also stamped it with my little initial stamp, because sometimes when you make heavy cards, they don't stand up if you do it the top folding, so this way at least it'll stand up. And these are just basically recycled from up here up front. So yeah, so I hope you guys like it. It's very simple, but now that the first one is always the hardest to make, and this was my first one I made this way. So, and I show you guys kind of like the little things that I do to cut the foam and stuff like that and place everything. So in the video, so I'm just gonna go ahead and play that. I recorded it, but I'm basically gonna do a voiceover. Hopefully I don't mess it up. And hopefully I can figure out how to fast forward it on my iMovie. So yeah, see, like, it's super cool. I'm totally distracted. You can see that I'm just like shaking it, but not that kind of shaking it. I mean, I live in Vegas, but I'm not that kind of Vegas. So there it is. I absolutely love it, and I just wanted to make it because I've been wanting to make this card, and pretty much it. It could be a hello card. It could just, you know, you want to send it to somebody, and that is. Look how cute. Anyway, I'm such a nerd. So you guys stay tuned for the process video if you'd like to watch it. And also please watch my video on the birthday event. You'll see the talented ladies. I have some, and thank you again, Tracy, for sponsoring it with your through your shop. And there's Elise, Jen, Laurel, Sybil, Sabrina, the Carol. You guys, they are amazing, talented ladies. So check them out. And oh yes, I almost forgot. Some of these papers, you guys, the awesome thing with the papers is that on Tracy's shop, Art Attack, she sells them as kits. So you get the papers and the embellishments. So she has the My Mind's Eye crepe paper. She has some of the brand new collections. Let me grab my iPad. So here are the paper collections. She has the Bo Bunny Sweet Life. All of these other ones, Jack and Jill, It's a Girl by the first edition, all of these. Now, many of these, like I said, they're actually kits. So you get the paper pad and of course, she has a pink Pokemon Ami one. The Sweet Life, she just got the Sweet Life back in stock. And you get, some of them, like I said, the Fancy That. You will get, here, let's just click on one. Because I'm just sitting here babbling at this point. You get... See, look at that. You get the paper, you get the embellishments, you get the chipboard stickers, and you get the cards. So you get all of that, you guys. So check out those. So don't think that you're just paying to pay $20 for like just one little pad. No. You get the embellishments and everything, and they're super adorable, you guys. You guys have to check it out. And some of them are 12 by 12, some of them are 8 by 6, 8 by 8, not 8 by 6, 8 by 8, and 6 by 6. So check those out, you guys. They're super good price, and there's quite a bit of pre-sale items, like you see the gorgeous girls in the shop. So yes, check it out. Like I said, if you'd like to stay tuned for my video, for my process, please stay tuned, and I will talk to you guys soon. Bye, everyone. Okay, so here is where I get started with all of the selections. I chose 8.5 by 11 cardstock, just regular color cardstock, craft cardstock, sorry. And these are the sticker collection, and this is also the chipboard set for the crepe paper craft market. So, and I'm just showing you here how I use the wax paper for the frames and for several of the pieces that I have extra in that collection. So I just take the 8.5 by 11 and I just cut it down to 5.5 by 11. So that way I end up with a 5.5 by 5.5 card. So yes, then I just bring out, this is my Martha Stewart scoreboard, and this is the Robin's Egg one. They had the limited edition for that one. So I just score it with my Teflon bone folder, which is amazing. It's a little gift from Nathan. And of course, you have to make sure it's all scored and folded. And here I bring out the little 6x6 paper pad of the cardstock, trying to figure out which papers I want to use, because I need about 2 to 3 papers. One for the front of the card, one for the back part of the shaker card. And I start out with 3 papers, 3 different ones, and I end up switching halfway through it because I did make a boo-boo. I made a mistake. The funny thing is, whenever I do a shadow card, not a shadow card, a shaker card, I end up boo-booing it and forget the acetate. So anyhow, right here, this is the gold foil paper. It's from Recollections, and I just cut out 2 pieces because I will need 2 of the diamonds from the to use with the dice right here. So I just have, right now I do have my Big Shot machine. I haven't set up my Teresa Collins cut and emboss, so I just go ahead and run them through that, and I have the Big Shot Express, which is awesome. As you can see, I don't have to crank it or anything. And when it comes, especially with gold foil, I don't use a paper piercing tool. I use my stylus. I use the finest tipped stylus. So even if it does go through there, through the paper, it won't have a hole. It'll have more of like just a little indentation. And there is one of the pieces, so I have to cut out 2 because I do want to put 2 diamonds on front of the card, on the front of the card. So here I had to bring in the foam to lay on the table because you really can't tell the craft cardstock from my craft mat. And I'm just trying to figure out where I want everything. And the card is 5.5 by 5.5, but the front of it is going to be 5 and 7/8. What is it? Yeah, 5 and like 3/8 or something like that. And so I'm going to go ahead and I start out, if you'll see, I start out with this blue paper and the card ends up with a different blue paper. I essentially made 2 foam backings because I forgot the acetate on the first one. I know. See, I do make mistakes. And here you are. Here I am just layering it to see what it looks like. And you'll see this foam is a 1/4 inch foam. And this is just that fun foam that you find at the craft stores. This one is specifically from Hobby Lobby. They have different widths. They have 1/4 of an inch, 1/7 of an inch, and I forgot like what the other one is. So here I'm just seeing exactly where I want my diamonds placed. And this is the foam. And I have to make the windows. And I chose to use the Bliss die from the Heidi Swapp phrase dies. And right now I'm just tracing around the die cuts so I have enough space to cut out the foam. And I cut outside of the line to make sure I have more space out on there. Now you'll see my my X-Acto knife. I have it with a little foam tip because it doesn't matter what craft knife I find and use, the tops always fall off, and I really don't care for the Tim Holtz one because since it has that little trigger, it basically pops back in and you're just scratching whatever surface you're on. And this, I just prefer these thicker ones with the foam, with the gel side. They're easier to hold, especially if you're going to be cutting out a lot of stuff. I just rather put one of those little foam tips on it so I don't stab myself. So here I am just cutting out the shapes and trimming them down just to make sure that I have everything set. And you see I wanted to go ahead and put in the die cuts there to make sure that they fit, they have enough space, because you don't want the foam to peek out behind the acetate. And right here I am just trying to configure where I'm going to die cut the diamonds, because on the front cardstock I will cut out the diamonds perfectly so they just embed right into the actual front of it. And like you can see that I actually put the foam on, I face the paper forward and I put the foam on top of it so I know specifically where it's going to end up underneath it. I don't do it the opposite way because then you will have it in the reverse places. And then I just put the die right through that little foam cutout already so it'll be specifically perfectly where it's supposed to go. Then I just run it through my die cut machine twice, obviously because I have to get it. And here we go, I just flip the paper over, and this will go perfectly on the back. Because if you don't do it that way, you will end up with the holes for the diamond and everything on the opposite side. So, since I am using foam, I like to use hot glue with the foam, mainly because, and look, you will see I made a boo-boo. I was about to start, and I started back up. I forgot the acetate again on the second round, but I realized this time, so I went ahead and grabbed the acetate, cut it up to the perfect size, and this was cut at 5 1/4, but I had to cut it down just so I wouldn't have extra acetate underneath it. I wouldn't have to adhere the extra stuff onto the paper. Because, see, these things happen, I'm telling you. I have to put post-it notes that I'm doing a shaker card, and I remember the acetate because I almost made the boo-boo twice. See? People make mistakes. I just go ahead and we're going to adhere the acetate with red line tape because that has a really good grip. I feel like if I use the wet glue, sometimes it either moves or it doesn't dry right away because it is acetate and it is non-porous, but the red line tape works perfectly for that. And here I go, just going to go ahead and put it around all the spaces, and I want to make sure that it's pretty close to the edges of the diamonds just so it has a nice flat surface and it doesn't fall in the middle where where the sequence and everything would be, and you don't want that. That's just a pain in the butt. It'll look kind of saggy, and nobody likes saggy diamonds. And so yeah, so I'm just going ahead and placing it throughout the entire section. So now that I have everything, all of the red line tape adhered, you go ahead and get your bone folder to make sure that it's all pressed. And now here I will use a piercing tool so I can remove the backing of the red line tape from the actual paper, because I do tend to mess it up if I try to do it just with my fingers, and then I just end up moving the tape or something, or it just messes up. So I go ahead and take all of that off, and I had to warp it a little bit. It did get a little bit warped from all the putting on the tape and everything, and then I just position it, and since the sizes of the acetate is a little bit smaller than the paper, it is it'll perfectly go on there easily. And just go ahead and make sure you're pressing on there to get that good grip, and there we are, that you have made the front of your window, and now it can go on the foam. All I do is just turn it upside down, and I will use hot glue. Like I said, I like to use hot glue for the foam, even though it doesn't make sense to do it on such a big surface. But here's what I do. I go section by section. I look at the sizes to see which side will be easier to pull up and which side won't be. So I started with the top part, I put it down, and then I like to get one of my dies, because it is flat and pretty heavy. I squeeze it down, I press it down to make sure there's even pressure on the hot glue so it spreads evenly and well enough. And then I just go ahead and continue with the opposite side. I lift one side and then I lift the other side. So you can actually get, because if you put hot glue on the whole thing, some of it is not going to glue because it will get cold and won't work. So there we go, and you'll see now it is the actual foam, and the shaker part is perfectly done. Here is the bliss that I also cut out from the cardstock, which is a deeper blue. And now I'm looking at it. I'm placing it on the craft background to see how it would look with the star paper behind it, and then I'm just setting the diamonds, the gold diamonds, on the front to see how it's going to look. And I like the way it's going to look, and I go ahead and now I have to go ahead and start with the back of the paper, and I went ahead and cut the star paper at 5 by 5, so it was a little bit smaller than that, and I can get ready to add I totally forgot what these things are called. See what happens when I'm totally distracted as I'm doing a recording. The sequins. And these are the sequence packs that are from Tracy's shop. I have the blue set and the pink set. So I'm going to go ahead and use the blues. I pour in some of the little of the gold and the silver that I got from Walmart, and the rest of the blues, all of the blue hues, are from Tracy's shop, Art Supplies. And I put in a few of every color. The funny thing is, I was worried at the beginning that I was putting in way too many sequins. But once I had it all set and done and I was shaking it around, I felt like I wanted more. And I wasn't about to go ahead and slice this poor card open and commit surgery on it. So in future, I thought, just go ahead, go for it, add more. Who doesn't love more bling? I was going to add glitter because I do have that Heidi Swap glitter, but sometimes it gets staticky. Look, you can see right here, the sequins were sticking to my hands, like I said. Sequins are like the herpes of the sewing community, just like glitter is the herpes of the crafting community. So now that is all set, I'm going to go ahead and put the backing to the diamonds. And since it is foam on this side, I once again am going to use and there's my big head in the way, I apologize. I'm going to go ahead and use hot glue, and I'm going to put glue on half of it, and then I will fold it up and put glue on the other half. And like I said, I do like to press down with one of the dies because it's all flat, it's pretty heavy, and even though your hands might be small, when you press down with the die, it'll give out even pressure on the hot glue, or pretty much whatever adhesive you're using. You can use that for adding adhesive to to anything because it gives you a wider space of pressure when you're pressing it down, or you could just leave it on there for it to dry up and everything. But the backing is, I mean, the actual shaker part is done, which is basically the front of my card. Now I just have to adhere the diamonds, but I'm going to go ahead and glue this to the card base. And I went ahead and just used my ATG gun because this is going to go paper on paper, so I can use that. I don't really have to worry about, I use quite a bit, or you could use red line tape if you're worried that the front will fall off the card. So here is the card now on the base, and the funny thing is, since it's elevated so much because it's a 1/4-inch foam, you can barely see the craft background until you open the actual card. So now I'm just going to go ahead and get my diamonds ready, and I'm going to use glossy accents because if it does spill out from behind the actual die cut, it will dry clear. And I just put a little bit, just a tiny bead going around because you don't want it to ooze out so much. And I prefer glossy accents, like I said. It dries just like I normally use Scotch quick dry, but for this, since it's going on acetate, I'd rather use glossy accents. And I do that for both of them. And now just bringing the whole card together. I absolutely love the way it came out. And also make sure you watch out for your glossy accents because it spilled out. Here I am just adding the bliss, and the funny thing is half the time I'm off camera when I'm doing this. But for the bliss, since it's such a fine die cut, I go ahead and make little dots of glossy accent for me to place it onto the card to make sure that I get the entire thing. So it's just a little bit, I try to drag the little bead across, but you don't want to overdo it. And with those little dots, it'll hold it quite well. And I just went ahead and used the glossy accent because it was already out there. It was already on my desk because I was already using it for everything. And now here I'm looking, if you see I'm frantically looking around, I lost the eye, the dot to the eye. So I had to go ahead and cut out another little piece and die cut it again so I can add the eye to the bliss. So I finally got the eye, and it was just a little troublesome getting it on there, but there we go. So the card is ready, and I thought I was done, but when I opened it, I saw that I felt that it still needed a little something at the top right because it was pretty open, and also the inside just seemed too plain. And who knows, if I write on it, they'll be able to see it with the with just the craft base of the cardstock. So I'm looking at the chipboard stickers and the regular stickers to see what else I can add. I don't want to overdo it. So I have these little alphas, and I rarely ever use the alphas on the stickers, so I figured, hey, let's use those. And I felt that they would bring together the craft color. And I started to bring out the little letters to spell out sweet. So then my card would say Sweet Bliss. But when I put them on there, it just seems so lonely and sad. And they have these little labels on the sticker pack, and I thought that was very cute. And the dark blue, that kind of aqua blue, would go very well with the bliss part of the card. So it kind of ties in the entire card from corner to corner. There's 2 diamonds on the opposite corners, and then there's a blue accent on each corner. So I went ahead and just I spelled out the sweet, and I didn't do it perfectly. I was originally, but I have to make sure I relax more with these things and, make it more whimsical and stuff. So I just went ahead and took out that sticker. I put it on paper, and then I put it on some foam to make it dimensional, because if you put the foam, when it presses down, it might get sticky on the actual paper. So I just had to just, put it on paper, then cut it out again, and then put foam on the back. So here I'm looking for more of a plain paper for the inside of a card to give me a space to write something, or if I gift this to somebody, they'll have a space to write this. And I went ahead and just took that light cardstock and I cut it up into 4x4. And just once again with my ATG, I just went ahead and put some adhesive on the back of that and place it on the lower right, because the blue diamonds that were cut out originally just to cut out of the front of the card, I went ahead and used those. I recycled those. See, we don't waste anything. That way you kind of decorate the inside without even having to pull anything extra out. I put a diamond on the top, and then I'm like, you know what? Now the left part looks a little bare. And I had 2 diamonds because I had to cut out 2 sections, and I went ahead and just added that one inside as well, because I felt that it just tied it in together. So, and you don't waste it. You could save it for another project, but you get to use it. And And hey, why not? So here I'm just adding my final little touch. I have to remember to add this. I have my little initial stamp, which I found at a boutique in Hollywood like ages ago. I really have to have a custom one made. So there is my card. Here's it shaking. And yeah, hope you guys like it. Let me know what you guys think. And thanks for going along my little journey. I'll talk to you guys soon. Bye, everyone.